Kyle here for yet another video. I know I'm sure you want to see more of E-House and Andre, but I'm not letting you. Eric finds it funny because he's big and strong in his muscles, but he doesn't know I'm going to stab him with one of his knives one day.
No, you're not.
He's right, I'm not. Okay, but we're going to talk about getting into night vision and how it is an awesome and terrible decision. First, when you're looking at night vision, let's go over the basics. You got 3 major generations of night vision. The first generation, mostly worthless. What you're going to be able to do with that is you're going to be able to see slightly better at night than people without any kind of night vision. The only place where it's going to offer you a true advantageous situation is going to be indoors with an illuminator. You'll be able to see something. It'll be blurry, it'll be out of focus, you'll be tripping over yourself, but you will see them before you fall down. That's the advantage of Gen 1. Now, once you get into Gen 2, now you start to be able to see things. With this, you can see pretty much, you'll be able to identify an enemy threat up to probably, I'd say 100 meters, which is beyond airsoft range. So that makes it really good for that. Individual identification is obviously much shorter than that, and it depends on the lighting conditions. And then there's Gen 3. Gen 3 is like turning night into day, and it's pretty awesome. Not perfect still. It's still not perfect clarity. It's not quite like, an average, summer day, but it's not bad. Now, in terms of price, Gen 1, you start at about $200. Pretty affordable. Gen 2, if you're buying new, it tends to start at about $1,200. If you're buying used, you can get it. I got this, a great deal. This actually cost me about, I would say, $750 for this one. But this one is used and it has problems. But generally speaking, you can get a good set of used for probably about $900 to $1,000. And then Gen 3, new, you're going to spend at least $3,000. And then used, they really vary a lot. You're going to spend $2,000, $2,500, somewhere in that range. It depends on all the conditions and stuff like that. But that is not the end of your expense when you buy night vision. That is the beginning. So you buy the night vision, and then you've got this cool thing right here, and you're like, I can see in the dark. And then you realize, wait a minute, how do I attach this? And that's where things get more interesting. Now, if you buy into Gen 1, if you decide, you know what, it's not a huge advantage, but Gen 1 is my budget and what I want to buy. Well, then the issue with that is you got to make sure you get something with a mounting system that you can use. Armscore makes one that's PVS mount compatible. And I highly recommend that because if you're going to run it on a helmet, like especially a terrible cheap replica helmet like this one, you want something that can use your standard Rhino mounts and you can plug it right into the front. If you have something that uses a non-standardized mount that they don't make anything for even, you're done. You're in bad trouble. You have to custom make something at that point or it's just not even going to work. Now, once you get into Gen 2, I thought, this is my mistake, that all the mounts, they're like the same, right? They all use the same mounts because these things are expensive. They've got to use some kind of standardized system. No, they don't. So I got this, and it didn't come with any kind of mounting hardware, and I thought I could buy, a $50 Rhino, buy a J-arm, and boom, done. Life is easy. No. This particular device is made by ATN, and it uses ATN mounts, and ATN mounts, sometimes ATN mounts. So, now all of a sudden I have this cool night vision, but the only way I can get, if I put a Rhino here, to get the adapter that runs from the Rhino to the night vision device is I have to buy a $230 kit for the one piece I need out of that. That sucks. And that's for your basic one. If you want like a fancy night vision mount, which they make some really cool stuff out there, prices go up. And then so now you say, okay, well, I got my night vision, I got my mounting system, be it either a skull crusher or a helmet mounted system. And well, you could also go rifle, but I highly advise against it. Don't go rifle. If you want to go rifle, get a rifle night vision scope. Get an ATN day night scope because then you can run it during the day and it's between Gen 2 and Gen 3 quality at night, and you're good to go. If you want something that's head mountable, keep away from putting it on a rifle. It's a waste of time. You don't want to do it. Even if you have a night vision compatible optic, which I have, and I experimented with this, trust me, don't do it. So now you have your mount though. You got it attached to your helmet and you're like, sweet, I'm ready to go. Except you're not. There's more to it. Now you have to worry about illuminators, because the problem with night vision is it only amplifies existing light. So if you go into a true pitch black room, you're still not going to be able to see anything. You still got to get an illuminator. Illuminators can start pretty cheap. A Chinese illuminator is going to run $50 and up, and then the sky seems to be the limit. I've seen $400 or $500 illuminators. So it all depends on what you want to buy. This example right here, this is about a $200 illuminator. This is an older generation one. This is probably in the, I think, 850 wavelength. With the illuminators, what you need to consider is they come in multiple wavelengths. The lower the wavelength, the better the clarity you're going to have and the more range you're going to have. The higher the wavelength, the less it's going to be visible to your regular eye pattern, but the fuzzier it's going to be at the same time. So it's all give and take in balance. This is a lower one, but this can throw really, really far. And then you have a couple options you can use for IR illuminators. You can go with a handheld one. You can go with a weapon-mounted one that's separate, so you can get a mount for this to put it here. Or you can get a PQ system like this and have it mounted here. Now that you can light up in the dark, you think, I'm done, right? No, you're still not done. Now you need a laser. And you say, well, why do I need a laser? I never use a laser. I don't use a laser. Well, you need it for night vision. And the reason why is because when you got this big helmet on, you got these goggles and stuff like that, you can't look down your sights. It sucks. And even if you could, the night vision gets in the way, and the image you're going to get is really fuzzy. You're not going to see very far. You don't want to do it. So the easiest workaround for this right now, and what we see in the real tactical world, is people use a laser, and they use the laser for aiming purposes. Now for lasers, you have, again, a couple of options. There's only one, I shouldn't say that. There's two Airsoft IR lasers out there. There's this, the D-Ball PQ, both in the format of with the illuminator and without. And then the other option is somebody makes a D-Ball pistol clone, which in theory has an IR illuminator on it as well. This is, with just the IR invisible laser, this is around, I think, like 100, 120. With the visible laser and the illuminator combo, this is about $170. So
it's made by GMP, by the way.
And it's made by GMP. It's a very good quality. It's it's like an all metal body, very simple, easy to use. I would actually, the IR illuminator by comparison on this, I have the Streamlight TLR with an IR laser on it, and this actually is directly comparable to that. So the laser quality is actually good. Its ability to hold zero, I wouldn't trust it on a real rifle, obviously, but for airsoft application, it's a good value buy, I would say. Now, if you want to get a real IR laser, you can actually get into them for not that much money. A real PQ is mind-blowing expensive. They're over $1,000. You're in trouble. But you can get a real, just an IR weapon mount from like Laser Max, and that's going to be in the $200 to $300 range. So you got a couple of options of how you're going to spend it. None of it's cheap, but it all works. But after that, you will finally be ready to fight in the darkness, and you will spend a lot more money than you planned on. But it's cool. It's definitely worth it. I actually have just gotten into this over this winter. It's kind of been it was my Christmas present to myself was this, and I'm building up the rest. So by next season, you will see me fighting in the dark and tripping over my own 2 feet. So it'll be a lot of fun. If you guys have any questions about night vision, I'd be happy to answer them. Please let me know. But other than that, that is it for your night vision tutorial for today.